Hey, what's happening out there? This is Halftime Prep Talk. You're watching us on dailyindependent.com, YouTube, or the Independence Facebook page. As always, HTPT is sponsored by Fannin Automotive Family. I'm joined by Matt Sparks today, and here in a little bit, we're going to be joined by Greg Logan, Greenup County Baseball Coach. I'm Aaron Snyder, and this is the 26th episode of HTPT. How about that?
Well, it's been a while since I've been on. It's been
a
about
few weeks.
About a month and a half. I guess it's my turn in the rotation now, so I get to be on camera now.
All right. Well, if you look at the bottom of our screen here, you can look at the distinctive specialties ticker for some games coming up this week. Matt, you just made a purchase of not a tee, but a polo.
Yeah, I just learned an important lesson in TV. If you're using a green screen, do not wear a green shirt.
Write that down.
A huge mistake financially for me because I had to rush out and buy this nice new ensemble here that I'm wearing.
Well, it looks very, very nice on you.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right, let's go to out of left field. Talk about Evan Cox a little bit. The Ashland graduate. He played baseball and golf. He was actually a pivotal part of their region baseball championship team. But he was an excellent golfer, and now he's playing on the links for Virginia Wesleyan. He's a freshman there. He was named second team all-conference in the Old Dominion Athletic Conference, and he was the men's rookie of the year. So kudos to Evan Cox.
Nice.
Let's play two. Matt, who gets your game ball this week?
I think I'll go inside the circle down at Russell. Cassie Foltz had quite a week. Down there in Russell, they're kind of having to deal with life without Mallory Powell now. All area pitch. Mal Powell. A great watcher of movies. Loved 42, of course. So it's been a little adjustment for them, I think. I think now that they found maybe their number one pitcher now, and Cassie had a big win over Greenup County this week. And also, she's really swinging the bat well, too. So, I'll give it to her.
I'm going to go with Dylan Grimm. Grimm Pickens this week from Boyd County. He had 5 RBIs against Ashland on Tuesday night, and they needed all of them. Boyd County won 11-10. Ashland made it surprisingly close, but Dylan Grimm came up with some big hits and some big run-producing plays. He's also a key part of that team because, for one, on the mound he offers experience, throws it pretty well. From the rubber, he really is going to be depended on a lot by Brandon Ramsey, the coach there at Boyd County, because they're going to possibly deal with the loss of Tanner Bryan. He's not back from injury yet, and they're going to really need that experience on the mound, because that's one thing, if there was any area that they're lacking in, that would be it. Jacob Barnwell is one of their best throwers as well, but he's behind the plate as a catcher. So Dylan Grimm gets the game ball this week, and he's an important part of that team moving forward as well.
Yeah, I think that's probably most the solid lineup 1 through 9 in the area. And now their pitching could come around. They could really be a dangerous team.
Let's move on to covering the bases. First base, Wes Carter. The baseball team won the 16th Region All-A Championship, and then they won the sectional, so they're moving on to the round of 8, which is when, Matt?
I think May 2nd down in Whitaker Bank Park in Lexington.
And so the Comets will be representing the region there. They beat Sheldon Clark, and what was the biggest thing about that was Ben Jordan came back.
Yeah, that's a real big thing. 6'9", has to be an opposing side on the mound. Have a 6'9" guy hurling fastballs at you. He had a high ankle sprain in the basketball district tournament. He's taken a while to come back. I think Coach Tim Johnson has kind of gradually brought him back to make sure he was ready. And against Sheldon Clark in that sectional, 12 punch-outs. It was really impressive.
Second base, we're going to move on to Rowan County's Cam Plank, another guy that's been phenomenal on the mound. 22 consecutive shutout innings. Wow. That was good enough for a tie for 8th place in the state on the all-time list. You know who holds the number 1 and 2 spots?
I have no idea.
16th region guys, or actually area guys, I should say. One of them's a 16th region guy. The other is a 15th region guy from Lawrence County. Chandler Shepard's number 1, 46 straight innings without a run, and he holds the top spot. And number 2 is Tyler Heineman from Greenup County, 37 consecutive shutout innings. And we're actually going to mention Tyler Heineman here in a little bit when we talk to Greg Logan. We'll ask him about him. So Cam Plank, the Louisville commit, junior for Rowan County, doing good things. Third base, 63rd District. Going to have Greenup County baseball coach Greg Logan on here in a little bit. So let's talk about 63rd District, top to bottom, baseball, softball. It's got to be the most competitive in the region in both, don't you think?
I think it is. I think when you look at the baseball, I think Greenup County is pretty much head and shoulders right now at the top in that district. Got a solid pitching staff, 1 through 5, a great lineup. I think maybe Lewis County has taken a little bit of hit. Jordan Davis has been on the lineup for a while. They've taken a little bit of hit, but they're a very solid team. Got a new coach, a little bit of adjustment there, but I think
he's
they're
back
now. But Russell and Racing are both dangerous. They got great players on both those teams too. So.
Yeah, I mean, as we're going to talk to Coach Logan about, the Greenup County does host the district this year as far as baseball goes. It's going to be interesting in both sports. I've talked to Sean Johnson several times. Because of the competitiveness in that district, he as well as Randy Vanderhoof, the baseball coach at Raceland, those guys, for the Rams, they were in favor of maybe a different format to set up the region. We can get into that discussion another time, but I talked to Coach Johnson several times about how they could maybe come up with some kind of system to rank 1 through 16 without having to have 2 teams from each district, because like he says, 3, possibly 4 teams sometimes from the 63rd district are good enough, quality enough programs to be involved in that region.
Well, I think the softball district might be the most competitive in either sport that we're talking here, because top to bottom, any team can beat another team on a given night. Russell, they've won I think 7 straight.
7 of 9, I believe.
7 of 9. They
8 of 10 now.
There's always an adjustment period with new coaches. They have a new coach as well. It took a little bit of time there, but now they've railed off 8 out of the last 10 games. They've won. Big Green, I said Big Green previously. Greenup County, really been swinging the bat well. Brett Johnson has really performed well in the circle. So I think that's going to be a really interesting district tournament.
Yeah, here in a few weeks. So, all right, let's bring in Coach Logan. Greenup County baseball coach Greg Logan joins the HTPT set. Coach Logan, thanks for coming down.
All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Been the baseball coach at Greenup County since 2007. In the early years, you won the 16th region in 07, 08, and 2010. It was pretty easy early on, wasn't it?
It seemed pretty easy then. Probably didn't realize, I guess the good teams that we did have, and he was always trying to motivate and try to keep them motivated, and just but looking back at it, I look at, man, we had this guy, we had this guy. So we did have some very good ball clubs, some good players, some good pitching, and I think of course the bats changed, and we was putting up 25, 30 home runs, and you couldn't hit that many out if you scooted us to second base now. So we did have some good teams, and had some good regional titles there, some good semi-states, some good experiences at Lexington. So hopefully those are not very far out in the future once again.
What I remember about those teams, with Eric Kraft and Tyler Heineman and Matt Jones and those guys, you guys had a unique ability to just come together as a team and have a huge inning. I mean, you guys would bat around in the 4th or 5th or something and then put a game away.
That 3rd or 4th inning was very, very good to us, and you really just had to stand over there and just keep waving them on. So those were good ball clubs, and I honestly think, I go back to the 2010 team, Ethan Harden, Dakota Greenslate, Jeremy Barr, those teams. and even the 07, 09 team of Tyler and Eric and Billy and that bunch there. You know, I'd look at this group that we have today. We are not that far away. Now we don't have Tyler Hyman. He could throw it in this mug here, you know, and it didn't matter what the count was. It didn't matter what the pitch was. So we probably don't have that, but I think that we've got a staff of, you know, some kids that is sometimes that they can go out at a night and do that, but on a consistent basis like he was, we don't have that yet. But I think we're making progress, and you know, if you've been following us here lately, you know, we're making progress to that. So yeah, those were special teams and special moments and special places, and hopefully we can pull that off once again.
Well, you brought up your son, Billy Logan. He went to James Madison,
Yes,
played
sir.
there. What's he into now?
He's married. He's been married for about a year, and he is pastoring a church in Harrisonburg, Virginia.
Okay.
So he graduated there at James Madison, fell in love with a college girl there at James Madison as well. So he is now pastoring a church in Harrisonburg, and you know, he felt like that was the call that he had early on around his junior year of high school. So it worked out really well. He attended a church there, and they hired him as full-time pastor. So he's spreading the good news.
That's great to hear. He was part of a wave of really good catchers, I think, in the area at the time. So he did a good job in the region, and you know, helping you guys win region
Sure.
titles. You know, talking about, you mentioned semi-state. You know, looking back at that setup and comparing it to the current setup, where all 16 region representatives get to go to Lexington and play in a one-game elimination format. Which do you prefer? What do you like about the semi-state? What do you like about the current setup?
Well, the semi-state was, I like the format because...
Which was best 2 out of 3.
Yes, it was best 2 out of 3. Now, the first year, 07, you know, we go, which some things I did not like about it, you know, we're in Greenup County, and we drive all the way to the other end of the state, Whitley County, I believe. So we played North Laurel there. So we've got a 4.5-hour bus ride, which, you know, I think they put the 12 or 13, 14, 15, 16 together. So that year we played the 13th. But it was good, you know. I think it added. I don't think we should have a one-game semi-state. I like the 2 out of 3. So that year, you know, we lost. We throw Tyler Heineman out there, and we lose that first game. But we did come back and win the next 2. So the semi-state was very good. I did like that, but I think the goal for, and I do like I think we've been there twice as far as the 16 or no, one, I can't remember, but
I think you've been there once since it became all 16 teams go to Lexington. Yeah.
Yes, that's correct. I think we went twice as semi-state,
Yes.
one as
Yes,
16th
correct.
teams. But I tell you, there is no stage in baseball like at Lexington, Kentucky. And I think it is good for high school baseball to get all 16 teams there. I think it's KHSA has made a good choice by doing that. So I do miss the semi-states, but I also think this is the best way to do it, is to get all 16 teams there. You have an opportunity, you know, you win your region, you have an opportunity to go. So it's a pretty tough grind to come out of that semi-state and to go to bring it down to 8. So I think it's the best. I think they made a good choice when they took all 16 teams there.
It does make for an exciting brand of baseball. You know,
It's a lot of baseball, you know, it's a week of baseball.
Exactly.
So
we enjoy covering it. It's
Sure.
one of my favorite events to cover, to go to the state baseball tournament for that reason. It's tough on you coaches just because, you know, baseball isn't exactly conducive to a one-game elimination format.
Right.
But, you know, that's how it is, and to string 3 or 4 wins together, you got to have good pitching, which you guys have had this year. Winners of 8 straight right now. The big reason why, the pitching rotation, Christian Wireman, Jackson Keaton, Ethan Coldiron, Zach Hayden, and Tristan Downing. Those guys have thrown together a bunch of complete games.
Yes, they have. Here's a prime example. Jackson Keaton's starting pitcher last night against Lawrence County. goes into the game with a .73 ERA, gives up 1 run, and his ERA it goes up. So, it's fun with those guys, and truthfully, Tristan Downing is probably our hardest thrower, and right now he's not pitching any. You know, we're going to hold him back for a couple more weeks. He's having some elbow problems, but those guys. Generally, you will see them bust 80 miles an hour. So with that, for young pitchers or people that thinks that they are a pitcher, you have to have command of the zone, and you better be throwing not so much curveballs or whatever, but if you're throwing it up there 75 as max as you can throw, you better be coming in there with the changeup 65 or something, and be able to throw that on 3-1, you know, when the count's not in your favor, a 2-0 count or something. But it's just keeping the hitters, deceiving the hitters is all that it is. Now, we would take the 90. Would I take Plank, and would I take Ben Jordan from West Carter? I don't know what I would do with it, but I guess Steve, you know, the pitching coach, would figure it out. But we've never had that. Even at best, you know, Tyler Heineman was 82, 83. So you got to learn to pitch to their weaknesses and find our strengths, whatever they may be. So I think we've done a good job of doing that, and you know, Steve has done a good job with them as far as here's the hand that you're dealt. Now we got to use it. So we don't have that 90-plus guy, but we would take one.
Tyler Heineman was a guy that he threw together, I think, 5 consecutive shutouts. As a team, you guys did that this year, 5 consecutive, which is happened amid this 8-game winning streak. I wanted to ask you, though, about another guy, Kyle Gammon, a transfer freshman who looks like a seasoned veteran out there sometimes. You know, second baseman. I saw him play at Rowan County last year. Haven't actually seen him personally, but I noticed he has had a big impact for your team.
Kyle is we've got him batting leadoff, playing second base. I think last year he played some shortstop for Rowan County, but Kyle's parents, I think his mother grew up right across the river, Franklin Furnace, and Kyle's dad was, they lived in South Shore, so obviously we're glad to have them back in the area, and glad that they brought Kyle back as well. So Kyle is he's still young quite a bit, but Kyle will swing at some bad pitches. But things I've noticed of Kyle is speed. It's unbelievable, his speed. It's unbelievable. He knows how to run the bases, and he's really not afraid of anybody of being thrown out, so he's very aggressive. Kyle knows how to play the game. Summers, I think he plays with the Hounds or somebody. So, you know, very good ball player. And 2 weeks ago, I think we go to Wheelersburg and play over there. And the difference, the strides that he's making, you know, he leads off. My number 2 batter, Kyle, strikes out looking. I think my number 2 batter strikes out looking. They end up beating us 6-0. So when we play this Saturday, I think Kyle leads off with a hit. My number 2 batter gets another hit. So the strides that he's making is unbelievable. And we've used him in relief pitching. He can play some shortstop. He can play some outfield. Kyle is a very athletic kid that is going to be very, very good for Greenup County.
Another athletic kid is Gage Hughes. Is he better at baseball or basketball?
I don't know. You know, I'm glad Gage is hitting the ball as well as anybody that I have seen, and you know, those guys, they're freshmen. So people says, Coach, when are you leaving? Well, if those guys are seniors, and you know, it may be a little sooner, but when you've got kids like that, it's, you know, you just keep looking, and Gage is playing very well. His arm strength is very good. It's increasing tremendously. The range that he has, and he makes plays look easy. He made one 2 nights ago that was just unbelievable, and he's making the routine plays. And, you know, we had a pretty good shortstop, played it there for 3 years, Chase Clary, and I knew Gage could make the plays that could get you on TV and stuff, but our focus was make the routine plays. Gage has, he has matured. He has taken a new role in this team. We can tell Gage to call timeout and go talk to the pitcher, and I'll tell Gage to make sure so-and-so knows this, make sure so-and-so knows this. And you can see Gage, and he wasn't like that in the beginning of the year. So you can see that he's taken on a role of being more mature, being a leader out there, and just directing traffic, because, you know, we got a freshman in right field. We've got young guys all different places. We got a sophomore at third base. So, you know, we're pretty young, and Gage has taken that upon himself, and that's pretty impressive that you ask a freshman to do that. But, you know, he's up for the challenge. I just asked Gage a lot of different times, Gage, have you got this? Can you do this? And he said, no problem. So that's the kind. And I asked him the same thing in the 7th grade. We're at Russell in the district tournament, and I think it's like 0-0, maybe the 4th inning. You know, Gage, can you do this, or you want me to get a pinch hitter? He says, I got it. So that's 7th grader. That's a kid probably 12 years old at that time. So that's what you're dealing with. Somebody
That kind of confidence
very special.
has been there with
yeah,
him.
Absolutely.
You guys will host the 63rd District and the 16th Region this year. You know, really nice facility there at Greenup County, and you guys do a good job of keeping things up and looking nice. And got the tarp. You've had that in full use this year.
Yeah, we've wore it out. We put it on 2 or 3 times there for Fleming County Monday night, and you know, we're pretty good practice of rolling it up.
Got the good grounds crew out there, don't you?
Yeah. So you know, that's why we've got in 20, maybe 21 ball games. So it's the right thing to do. But you know, we've got a great facility, and hopefully we can come out of there with a big trophy there.
Does that motivate you guys even more that you are hosting?
Oh, I think it does. I think that you know, we know what happened last year, and we kind of talked
East
about
Carter
that.
was set to host a region, and they didn't make the region.
Yeah.
tournament.
So and it can happen again. You know, it's not it can happen again if we're not careful. Because if you look at our district, I think the 63rd district, if you look at that, you take Raceland, Lewis County, Russell, who it may be, it's not a cakewalk for whoever it is. So same thing can happen again, and we definitely are cautious of that, and we want to be very, very cautious of it.
Speaking of being cautious, Brian Price really wasn't the other day. The Reds manager, everybody knows now, went on a little bit of a tirade. 77 F-bombs he threw around in a 5-minute period. What were your thoughts on that when you heard it?
Well, it's you know, I think there's no place for that with the social media and with the amount of reporters in there. He had to know that this thing is going to go worldwide, nationwide. He had to know that. Now, what are you thinking? Now, if you want to do that up in the hills or with your dog or something, and it's not doing what he's supposed to be doing, it's still not acceptable. But I felt like that they're only 13 games into it, you know, and I don't care if you're 162 games into it and you're 0-162. I don't understand his what he was thinking, or you know, or he wasn't thinking for him to say that. But it was no benefit to Cincinnati, and I think, you know, I think that it's probably not the end of it, of the example that he set forth. I just think it sends a bad sign to young coaches, to people that's been in the business. And there was no benefit in it there.
Yeah, it was a little surprising. It seemed a little out of character for him. He seems like a pretty calm, collected, laid-back manager, and I guess the pressure might be getting to him a little bit.
Well,
I'm not sure.
I'm sure, and I think it all started Mesoraco and Billy Hamilton and the guys. You know, why was Mesoraco not there?
Was released, yeah,
and you know, I'm sure the opposing coaches knows who's on the bench, who's on the roster, and you know, it just it set a bad example. And you know, I'm a Reds fan, but after that I'm not much of a Brian Price fan. I don't think Sparky would have done that,
no.
or he would have done it, you know,
Not
one-on-one. Yeah, he would have done it in a closed room with someone else. So,
Right.
yeah.
You guys are doing some cool things with cool hits. You guys are streaming some games, doing in-game interviews. It's kind of like Sunday Night Baseball. I'm starting to call Jim Forrest Dan Schulman.
There you go. Cool Hits has done a fabulous job, and you know we've made an investment. I think that it's the right thing to do. I think with the networking and with being able to just you can watch a Greenup County baseball game on your phone right now. So I think that is so cool. I even have college coaches, Coach, can you send me this link? I want to watch this kid. And that's what it's about, right. Is to try to get the kids the publicity and to try to get them to that next level. So it's pretty amazing. Jim and Cool Hits has done a great job for us. And, I look back at it for 9 years. Jim, WLGC started covering Greenup County baseball. Started out on AM, and we all know what AM is right there. It's, a lot of static and things, but they may have done 10 or 12 games. So, but if you look at how many programs in the state of Kentucky carries prime time or on the internet, of high school baseball, not very many. I know Harrison County does quite a bit, but, I think it's awesome that we have a relationship with them, and they have done an outstanding job.
How's the construction business going?
That's I probably need to spend more time of doing that, and it's tough. Once high school season is over, then I'm working about 80, 90 hours a week trying to catch up. So it's the pay is not very much of of course any coaching any high school, but it's just something that you get up earlier and you go to bed later and you try to figure it out somehow, some way. So I hope it's going well, guys. Just keep working hard.
What about the golf game? You've had any
the golf
time to work
game?
on that?
Golf game is terrible. Me and Jim Forrest, we're probably going to resort to putt, and, or you take two other ringers with you. Steve, my brother, he hits it pretty good. So
get a scramble going.
Yeah, and Coach Stoltz, he hits it pretty good. So we just kindly ride around and give them refreshments or whatever and snacks and just tell them to keep it going. But the golf game has struggled tremendously.
Well, hopefully your team won't struggle the rest of the season. I wish you the best of luck the rest of the year, and we look forward to covering you as we always do. And the district and region will be here before you know it.
Yeah, it'll be here shortly, and we're looking forward to it. And hopefully we can wind up in Lexington, Kentucky this year.
All right, thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you, sir.
HTPTs, 2 for the road. Matt Sparks.
Well, I have to. I have to do it, even though I really don't want to. Tim Tebow, doing a little Tebow mania, and
Can we get a Tebow from you?
No, I call it Tebow mania because this is making me crazy. I tell you, Tim Tebow signed with the Eagles this week. I guess to a 1-year deal to be the 4th-string quarterback. I don't know how that's going to work out. I think Chip Kelly has some ideas maybe for him. It's Chip Kelly.
He's got way down the depth chart already.
Yes. Well, Chip Kelly has the plans for him. I think his offense is one of the most widespread, most outrageous in the NFL. I think maybe he's more suited. I think maybe for a tight end position. I think this dream of being an NFL quarterback might be slowly draining. I think maybe he should learn. He needs to change position if he wants to play in the NFL. I think he needs maybe a tight end. I think
all the talk is surrounding the NFL right now with the draft coming up and whatnot.
Well, the schedule came out this week, and that's all Sports Center and other media has been talking about. I mean, we're in the middle of April, and we're already talking football. I watched the Sports Center this morning, the morning we taped this, and they're already giving out odds for Week 1. It's the middle of April, and we're already talking about the early September.
Yeah,
it's a little outrageous.
How does that benefit the Reds?
I have no idea. You went a little Brian Price on me there.
I'm sorry.
You scared me a little bit.
Couldn't control my anger. What's the best way to retaliate for somebody pitching at your head?
Well, you usually have a bat in your hand usually.
Yeah. Well, Joey bats.
Yes.
Has a big bat in his hand. Jose Bautista was thrown thrown at by Jason Garcia the other night from the Orioles. And by way of retaliation, he just drilled the next pitch into the stands. That's how you do it. And there was a little stare down and a little bat flip, but you know what? When you get thrown at, I think you're allowed to do that.
I would.
You know, Brett Laurie was thrown at the other day.
Oh, yes.
Now, was the slide he had against Escobar in Kansas City a little violent? Yes. But he was thrown at on Saturday. I think that's enough. Then they threw at him again on Sunday. That was too much. Kelvin Herrera, obviously, you know, is getting punished for that. But, you know, all this throwing at guys' heads, I mean, you got to see an end to it. I mean, because, I mean.
Well, you could ruin careers on one
that's
pitch.
That's the thing. I mean, you have 100-mile-an-hour throwers out there now. And, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, you saw there was a few months ago, there was an incident in, I forget where exactly it was, but in the sport of cricket where somebody was hit in the head and actually, you know, died from that injury. And you know what? I mean, in baseball, they throw harder than they do in cricket. And I know there's helmets, but I mean, there's just too many possibilities for injuries when you can't control your temper.
Especially when the Royals pitcher is pointing to his head like he meant to do it. It's sometimes where you say you want to throw at him just to say a message, but you know you plug him in the middle of the back or something. But going after a guy's head, that's a little bit different.
Of course, Boyd County native Greg Gibson was behind the plate for that game. And then a couple nights later is when Jose Bautista, the Blue Jays, repaid the Orioles for throwing at him by hitting one.
Well, I think the punishment needs to be a little more strict. I think you know, you hit their wallet. I think that'll make them think next time.
Mm-hmm. You've been watching HTPT. We thank you for that. We want to thank Greg Logan from Greenup County for joining us. Come back next week if we're here. I'm not sure because we're going to the Reds game next Wednesday. So the status is up in the air. So keep an eye on the Independent. Keep an eye on the website, and we'll keep you informed. That's all you got to do. See ya.